Good evening, fellow disciples, fellow taxpayers, and other YouTubers. Thank you for joining in today. I'm going to cruise with Jesus and kind of speak on what the Lord's been laying down on me today, and that being operating in our own relationships, relevant one another to God. So let me get out for this location and we will do a little chatting. I hope this can encourage, bless, and maybe even frustrate someone to go and look up what I say. What I say comes from the scriptures. Although be it I be driving, I can't open up my Bible and we go verse for verse, but I will tell you pretty close where things are at, and you can go look it up yourself if you find me or think I'm in error. I'm always looking for that accountability. So this comes up because my oldest daughter has moved out recently, and she's engaged to be married, and they're having a little bit of issues. Imagine that. So I went and had breakfast with her this morning. We discussed a few things, and my overall consensus of relationships, especially in this culture, in America and Western culture, there being an all-out attack on the family unit from the enemy, and the church not doing its job to fight back, has allowed us to see the divorce rate we see. It allows us to see the abortion rate we see, and strangely enough, there's really no difference in the divorce rate and abortion rate of the world and the divorce rate and abortion rate of those who claim to be in the church. And that's what frustrates me. I know the world's going to be silly. I know the world's going to get ignorant. The world's going to hate everything that I have to do with God. I got that. Not a problem. You go ahead and hate on if you're the world. But if you claim to be a follower of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, HaMashiach, led by the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, then we got issues whenever it comes to our relationships and how easily we just walk away from them and quit just to go get another relationship, only to find out fairly quickly or somewhere down the road that there's flaws in that relationship too. There's flaws in that other person, just as maybe different, but flaws nonetheless. Well, guess what? Welcome to the falling world. And that's what I told my daughter this morning. I said we can operate like the world, and when things get frustrating and it just seems pointless, we can pack our bags and walk away. We could pack their bags, kick them out, and let them walk their way. And then we go on to the next relationship, only to find we had similar issues, but issues nonetheless. I said, when we first meet that other person, everything's fun and games. The romance period, whatnot. It's all interesting. Sounds great. Doesn't mean that all that has to end. It just means that now you got to work at it. And just like anything worth having, it's going to require a little bit of work, maybe a lot of work. And we in this culture have come to the consensus that really nothing's worth working on and fixing. It's just easier to go get a new one. We don't fix up that truck and have a lifetime pickup like Grandpa did. Grandpa, he had everything he had for a lifetime, including his marriage. And bet that Grandma and Grandpa had the same issues that you and I face today, the same issues that my daughters will face tomorrow. It's part of it. the glorious thing about God and how He created man and woman from the beginning was that He created us differently. He did not create us, man and woman, to be exactly the same. I don't need another me. What I can do, what I'm capable of, is part of the relationship. I need my wife. I need what she brings to the table. She brings what she brings to the table. Same across the board. It's different than what I bring to the table. Therefore, giving us a more fullness and a roundness of our relationship, of what we need to operate in this cruel, wicked world as a team. My saying is I am the head of the household, but my wife is the backbone. Now I go back to Ephesians 5, 20 through 32. You can go look that up, and it gives God gives specific command on how we are to operate in our relationships, man and wife, husband and female. He commands the man to lead his home. He commands the wife to be diligently obedient to the man. It doesn't mean that man gets to grab woman by the hair, drag her across the streets, and holler at me, man, you woman, you listen. That's not going to work. Promise you. Tried that without the hair pulling and the dragging. But I did do the me man, you woman thing, and created a lot of problems. On the same token, we can't lay down and allow our wives to rule and dictate over our household, because that's not going to work either. That is, either way, is shaking your fist in God's face and what He created and what He deemed necessary for a relationship. And really, when you get down to looking at everything, our marriage one to another is basically getting us prepared and ready to be eternally married to God, married to the Son, however you want to look at it. We will be the bride. That took me a long time to get my head wrapped around and be okay with. I'm not a bride. I'm the dude, man. You know, not carrying no purse, bro. You know, but it's going to be different. It's just like the Sadducees tried to trip Jesus up, and when they asked him, okay, if a man be married and he die, and the wife marries the brother and he die, and then she marries the next brother and he die, and so on, and they get to heaven, whose wife is she? Well, Jesus simply tells them, in the kingdom to come, there will be no marriage and giving in marriage. Not real sure how that's going to work, but it's going to work. God's plan is divine, sovereign, and never changing. So with that said, God means for us to operate in a specific manner when it comes to our relationships. And as I stated earlier, that we in this culture are too quick to just go get something new. My car's not running right, I'm not taking it to the shop, trading it in for a new model. Give me a brand new truck. Well, I've been fortunate over my lifetime to have some brand new ones, and most of the time that's a good thing. Most of the time it works out all right. But there's been a few cases where the brand new one was a whole lot more trouble than the one prior. Either way, sooner or later the brand new one becomes brand new no more and becomes used, and it breaks down. It requires maintenance, and if you don't do the maintenance, it'll break down quicker and fall apart, and then you're stuck with not only now you have a vehicle that you paid, let's just say $55,000 for today. That's just a bare minimum truck that you probably got to roll up the windows manually, that you traded in your other truck that was valued at about $5,000 to $8,000, but it was $25,000, $30,000 when it was new, and so on down the list. You're losing money every time you trade it in, is what I'm trying to get at without going into this 30-minute speech. Because I can get caught up in these rabbit holes. I have to watch it. So we keep losing money trading in for the new model. Same thing that happens to our relationships. We keep losing a little bit and a little bit. It's always going to be a little bit of spirit loss. Sometimes it's financial loss. But the spiritual loss is the most important. That we understand that we lose every time we change relationships. God's specific. He says, what I put together, let no man separate. That's not only a command, but it's also a warning when you read it correctly and in context. Beware that you do not get between another man and his wife. Beware that you don't allow someone to come in between you and your wife. This is my command, my decree. Yes, God gave Moses the ability to grant divorce decrees because of man's and woman's hardness of hearts. The way I see it and the way I look at it, that's what I told my daughter this morning. There was nothing I could do so wicked and horrible that Christ did not forgive me for. And he says in Matthew 5:42, maybe 44, Sermon on the Mount, that we are to forgive our enemies. Well, when we're in a relationship, sometimes that relationship, that other person becomes our enemy at the moment. That's how we see it. Well, Christ commands us to forgive them. What can they do that is so wicked to you that you have not done to Christ? And he forgave you. Why can you not forgive that person? And that doesn't mean just saying, I forgive you. That means dropping it, forgetting about it, and moving on. And you may have to do that over and over and over. If you ask my wife, she probably lost count back in our early 20s how many times she had to forgive me.